Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. My name is Divine and if this is your first time here, you're welcome to Styles by Andre. Also, if you're a returning subscriber or viewer, thank you for stopping by once again. So in today's video, I'm going to show us how to draft and cut this beautiful funnel corset blouse with halter neck and also an asymmetric hemline. So if this is something you're interested in, let's get started with the tutorial for today. So the first thing I'm going to do is to draft my pattern, and these are the measurements I'll be working with. The first measurement I'm going to mark is my chest line measurement of 7.5 inches, my apex of 9.5 inches, my length under bust of 12.5 inches, and my half length of 16 inches. I'm going to draw a straight line. Then from my half length now, I'm going to come down with 5.5 inches to get my blouse length, that is the actual length of a corset of my corset blouse. I'll come down with 5.5 inches from my half length, and the hemline of this blouse is like a double layer. I'm going to come down with another 2 inches. So we have 2 inches, so we can have the two-step asymmetric on the lower part. So now I'm going to label these lines: my chest line, apex, length under bust, half length, and blouse length. After which, from the center of my pattern, I'm going to go in to mark my nipple to nipple measurement divided by 2, which is 3.75. So I'm going to mark 3.75 and I'll be starting from the apex. So the pattern we're going to be using for this tutorial is a princess dart pattern. Then after which, I'm going to mark 1 inch on both sides of this line, starting from my length to under bust line. So this 1 inch is not constant, it depends on your bust size. So this 1 inch on both sides should start from the length under bust, not the apex. Now I'll mark my shoulder measurement divided by 2. I'll mark that on my shoulder line and on my chest line, then connect the 2 points together. So this is my armhole line. Then I'm coming down with 1 inch for our shoulder slope and measure what I have left. I'll get the midpoint of that, and on that midpoint I'll go in with half inch. After which, on my chest line now, I'm going to mark my bust measurements divided by 4, then connect all these dots together to get the curve of my armhole. So this is the armhole curve. So you can see I made a mistake here. I took the lines all the way to the apex. So this line should stop on your length to under bust. So I'll connect from the length to under bust now to the apex like so. So you can see what we are having. Now on the midpoint of my armhole, I'm going to be marking out our dart. I'll go up with 1 inch and come down with 1 inch from that midpoint. Then connect the 3 points now to touch the apex. So I have a detailed tutorial on my channel on how to draft a princess dart blouse. You can also watch that video for better understanding on how to get your princess dart. Then on this third dart line, I'm going to extend it out all the way. Then I'll measure what I have for my dart, which is 1 inch up and 1 inch down. That's 2 inches. I'll mark that 2 inches on this extended line like so. Then I'll measure what I have on this chest line here and replace that dart after my bust measurement on the chest line. Now I'm going to go up with half inch because this is a sleeveless dress. So we don't want our armpit area to be too exposed. I will go up with half inch there, then connect it to that 2 inches of the dart. So this is going to be our new armhole curve. So this is what we're having. Next, I'm going to mark my round body measurement divided by 4. I'll mark it, measure what I have for my dart and replace it. Then on my blouse length now, the second layer, I'm going to mark my hip measurement divided by 4 plus 2 inches, which is the dart, plus extra 1 inch because this is a conical corset. So that 1 inch is going to give us an exaggerated hip. And I'll connect all the points together. So this is what we are having. Next, I'm going to be snatching our waistline with 2 inches. That means I'm going to mark ½ inch on this side and connect it back to the armhole and connect it back to the hip also. So with this now, we've removed 2 inches from our round body measurement. So this is what we are having. I'll blend any sharp hash line there. Next, I'm going to mark our bust dart, and from this nipple to nipple point, I'll go in with 0.25. Then come to the side here and mark 1 inch on both sides of this apex line. I'll connect the 1 inch point to the 0.25, and this is our bust dart of 2 inches. We are going to be closing this up and we'll be cutting this part out also. Now on the neck area, I'm going to mark our neck width of 3 inches, or 2.75 actually. 2.75 for 3 inches, then a depth of 7 inches. So we're having a V neckline here. I'll connect it. Then I'm going to connect that neck width point now to our shoulder slope, to the 1 inch I marked on the shoulder line to get our shoulder slope. Now I'm going to mark 1.25 inches, which is going to be the width of our halter neck. I'll blend this now. I said I marked 1.5 inches for the width of the halter neck. I'm going to blend it back to touch the armhole that we went up with ½ inch. Went up by with ½ inch. So I'm going to blend this. You can use your free hand for this. Just make sure you curve it out well. So this is it. So when I close up this dart here, by the time we cut off this princess dart here, these 2 points are not going to be joining. So we need to measure it to see if there's any shortage. And where there's a shortage, we are going to replace it. So I'll measure this first dart line and compare it to the third dart line. So you can see the difference. I'll mark out the difference. So you can decide to work with this difference and connect it back to the armpit, or you can decide to measure the third against the first. I don't know if you understand, but so I'll measure it like this. I'll measure the third. I'll pin it there, then compare it to the first dart line. So if you don't do this, you are going to be having a shortage. And you can see where this one stops. So I'm going to mark that point. So I'm going to connect it now from the shoulder slope back to this point. So by the time we sew our dress, it's going to align on that point. Just like we did for the initial princess, where we came out with 2 inches extra. This one now, we will measure it and come out with about 0.75 thereabouts. So this is the line we are going to be working with. So you need to measure the dart legs and compare it with each other. You can either measure the first line against the third, or the third line against the first. So I prefer it this way. So I'm going to highlight my lines so they are very visible. Now on the hemline now, I'm going to be marking the curve we have on the hemline. And from my initial blouse length, I'm going to be marking out my curve. So for the curve to align, to be accurate, I'm going to fold in my dart, because we're going to cut this dart out. So I'll fold this in like we've cut it, so I can properly draw out the curve of this blouse. So I'm going to curve it. I'm going up with about 1 inch, so it's not too high. I'll curve it, then connect it back to the full length. Then on the lower part also, I'm going to do the same. So this particular blouse here, it's like a 2 different kind of blouse. We have both the funnel and the halter neck. So that is why we are having 2 asymmetric hemline at the lower part. The first one is going to be the hemline of the funnel, while the second one is going to be the hemline of the of the princess that's with the halter neck here. So the blue one is the halter neck with the princess dart, while the red one is the funnel corset itself. So guys, if you want a detailed tutorial on how to go about the sewing, please let me know in the comment section and I'll do just that. So now I'm going to come down with 1.5 inches from my apex. That is where the funnel corset is going to start. Then I'm going to make it pass through this nipple to nipple line here and blend it to my initial armhole, which is on my chest line. So the princess that is going to have, because it's inner, is going to have more covering. It's going to go up with 1/2 inch on the armpit area, while the funnel corset is going to maintain the initial armpit as if we're attaching a sleeve. So this is the funnel corset. The one with the red and the one with the blue is the halter neck with the princess dart. So now I'm going to be tracing out my pattern. You have to trace out, we can't cut out everything on the same pattern. I'm going to trace out the red lines, which is the funnel corset, which is for the funnel corset. I'll trace out everything, trace the side, trace the upper part, trace the bust dart. And trace the center line. After tracing, I'm going to use my pen to follow the lines. So this is it. So I'm going to be adding my seam allowance of 1/2 inch all around this when I'm cutting on my fabric. Then I'm going to cut. Then I'm going to label this so we're not confused. I'll label the center front, arrow to arrow, and side front for the funnel corset. Then I'll continue cutting. Then on this side, I'm going to close the bust dart. I'll fold it in like so, then tape it down. Then I'm going to retrace this part because you can see it's not adding up. I'll retrace it, then continue cutting out my pattern. So this is what I'm having for the funnel corset of the front. Now for the back, I'm going to be cutting out the parts with the blue line. The princess dart blouse with the halter neck. I'm going to cut it out. Then after doing that, I'm going to close up the bust dart for this also. I'll tape it down, then blend this side like so. Then trim off the excess paper there. So this is what we are having for the inner bodice. This is the center front, arrow to arrow, and side front. So this is it. Then this is the funnel corset that is going to be on it. So this is what we are having for the front. Now to draft out the back, I'm going to come down with my chest line of 7.5 inches and my half length for the back, which is 14 inches. I'll draw out a straight line. The front half length is 16 inches for this measurement and the back half length is 14 inches. Next, I'm going to come down from this half length with 5.5 inches for the blouse length, just like we did for the front. And from that blouse length, I'm going to come down with extra 2 inches for the second layer of this dress. I'll draw it out. So next, I'm going to mark out my shoulder measurement divided by 2, starting from the center of the paper here. Then I'll connect the 2 points together. After doing that, now I'm going to mark my bust measurement divided by 4. I'll mark that on my chest line. Then on this armhole line here, I'm going to get the midpoint. Then connect that midpoint. From that bust measurement on the chest line, I'm going to go up with 1/2 inch also because it's a sleeveless blouse. Then connect that 1/2 inch to the midpoint of on the shoulder line. Next, I'll mark our round body measurement divided by 4 plus 1 inch for the back dart. Then on the hip, on the blouse length now, I'm going to mark our hip measurement divided by 4 plus 1 inch because this is a conical corset. So you can do more than 1 inch. for your conical corset, but I don't want it to be too obvious. Then I'll connect all the points together. Now I'm going to be snatching the waist with 2 inches, so I'm going to mark 1/2 inch on the side. I'll blend it back to the armhole and back to the hip. So this is what we're having. Now on the center back, I'm going to mark 1.5 inches for the spacing of the back, and on the blouse length I'm going to mark 0.1 inch. After which I'm going to mark 2 inches all the way for the lacing bar. This is where our eyelet is going to be. It can be 2 inches, it can be 1.5 inches if you are on the smaller side. Then I'm going to measure what I have left on this waistline and get the midpoint. From that midpoint, I'll go up with 5 inches and come down with 5 inches. Then connect the 3 points together with a straight line. Now to get the legs of the dart, I'm going to mark 1/2 inch on both sides of this line. 1/2 inch here, 1/2 inch here. Then connect it to touch the tip of the 5 inches we marked. So this is the back dart. Now I'm going to mark out the curve of the neckline for the princess darts with the halter neck, and this is it. I blended it back to the chest line. Then I'm going to draw out the hemline, the shape of the hemline. I'm going to draw it out. So this first shaping is going to be for the funnel corset, and the second shaping is going to be for the princess darts. So this is it, and this is the shaping I want the funnel corset to have at the top. So we're going to be having 2 different back here, but 1 lacing bar. So the both of them are going to be using 1 lacing bar. And it depends on how you want to do this back actually, because we don't have an image of the back. You can decide to have your funnel corset back and your princess dart back, or you can decide to have 1 back for the both of them. So whichever way you want your back to be. So I've traced out the funnel corset back here, but just make sure that the both of them have 1 lacing bar. And you can also do this to have, maybe the funnel corset can have a zipper, then the princess dart can have a zipper, and the funnel corset will have a lacing. You can manipulate your blouse any way you want it. So I've cut out my darts now and I've labeled this pattern. So after cutting this, I'm going to cut out the part in blue, which is for the princess dart at the back. So guys, I have a detailed tutorial on my channel on how to sew a funnel corset and also how to sew the bust caging very well. So please do well to watch that if you want to know how to join these pieces together. And I'll be leaving the link to the funnel corset sewing in my description, so please do well to check that. But if you want me to create a separate video on how to go about the sewing of this particular dress, please leave it in the comment section and I'll come up with the tutorial for that. And this is what we are having for the princess darts, the lacing bar, and the funnel corset. So guys, if you have any question also, please leave it in the comment section and I'm going to reply to them as soon as possible. Also, please give this video a thumbs up, share this video, subscribe to the channel, and also click on notification bell so you get updated anytime we post a new video on this channel. Thank you and bye for now.